Ahoy and welcome back once again to the channel. I've got a beautiful watch to show you in today's video from one of my favorite micro brands, an incredible micro brand from Thailand. Yes, you guessed it, Wise Timepieces. And a little while ago, they launched this, the Asura. I don't want to call it a dress watch, really. Dress watches historically have been very small, petite watches designed to, well, look quite fancy, but slide under a cuff very, very easily. This isn't a big watch, but I've actually seen dive watches smaller than this, so it's a sort of dressier watch, a sort of everyday watch. I wouldn't call it an out and out dress watch, but it is beautiful, isn't it? It's quite unusual, actually. There's a few interesting features and design elements on this. And there are some interesting specifications, but before I talk you through those, there's three colors available. One of them's got Thai numerals on it. The other two have Arabic numerals. I've been sent the red one, which I think is the pick of the bunch. And if you go onto the Wise Timepieces website, you'll see a few different prices. It's not overly clear. It took me a couple of minutes just to get my head around it, but it looks like you have to pre-order the watch on a crazy horse strap. But if you go for this one, which comes on a cordovan leather strap and has an FKM rubber strap, it's available now. You are going to pay a little bit extra, but with the current discounts, the more expensive option for this one is $1,050. The cheaper one, which comes on just the crazy horse leather strap, is $990. For the extra $60 or so, I think it's worth it. Cordovan leather straps are very expensive, and I love FKM rubber straps, so I think the extra $60 is actually worth it. Now, if you're familiar with this brand, you'll know they like to make watches out of 904L steel. Some people like it, some people don't like it. It's different to 316, obviously. It's a little bit easier to scratch, but that means it's easier to polish and refine. It's a little bit brighter. It's got a sort of shinier, brighter, silvery finish. Of course, Rolex use 904L steel. It's considered a more premium steel than 316. And yeah, I love the fact that they like to stand out in the crowd by using this steel. And yeah, you can definitely tell it's different to 316. And I think with this watch, that's also aided by the fact that there's lots of polishing on this watch. There is some brushing, very, very nice brushing, really interesting lugs, aren't they? Sort of twisted lugs. The inside facet is brushed. That larger outside facet that sort of dives down the outside of the watch is polished. Beautiful polished bezel, a little bit of curve on that bezel. Yeah, it's a really interesting case. The sides are brushed. Beautifully finished, as you would expect, at this price point, and from Wise, of course. Cool movement inside this watch as well. It is an automatic, it's not a hand wind only movement. It is the SW261-1, based on the SW200. Basically, the SW200 with the seconds in a sub-dial at the 6 o'clock. So it's a Swiss movement, beating at 28,800 beats per hour, hacks hand winds, 31 joules. To replace this movement, or to just buy this movement, I've looked online, £300 in the UK. These are not cheap movements. A good job it comes with a warranty, isn't it? 100 meters of water resistance, I wasn't expecting that, but again, like I said at the beginning, I wouldn't really classify this as a true dress watch. It is more of a sort of fancy everyday watch. Screw down crown, screw down display case back. And of course, you get two pieces of sapphire crystal. The crystal covering the dial, beautiful double domed sapphire crystal with AR coating, sapphire crystal in the case back. Each one's individually numbered as well. I've been sent number 0017, a few specifications on the steel case back look. And now we need to turn our attention to the dial. The case, I've already talked about that. Beautiful case, really interesting design, but the dial is also very eye-catching. A couple of different types of finishing on this dial. A really quite coarse effect on the sub dial and the center of the main dial. A little bit of a sort of pitted effect outside of that. You do have a chapter ring with some loom on it. I'll show you the loom at the end of the video. Now, those numbers and indexes, they're quite interesting. They're brushed. You know what I think they've done? I think they've produced this dial, stamped it. It's multi-layered, you know, lots of different heights. And then they've painted it. It sounds a bit coarse. I'm sure there's more to it than this. But then I think they've basically sanded or brushed the top surface, which is those markers and numbers, removing the paint and then leaving a sort of brushed finish. Yeah, it's quite unusual. I don't think I've ever seen a dial like it. I like the numbers. I like those little markers brushed. It looks really, really smart. It's definitely different. There's a few printed tracks on this dial, and the hands, dual facet polished hands, capped at the center. The seconds hand on the sub dial is a little bit sort of simple. It's a single sort of flat hand, but yeah, it does the job. It's very small. You don't really notice that it's a single facet hand compared to the other two. And the other two, yeah, really nice, aren't they? Super crisp, super bright. Under macro, it holds up pretty well. Now the straps, cordovan leather straps, they are not cheap. I did a little search online. Yeah, some cordovan straps online, £200. What's that? Almost 250, 300 US dollars. You can pick them up for a little bit less than that, but cordovan leather appears to be very expensive. It doesn't crease. It's a horse leather. It's actually some sort of connective tissue underneath the hide. Yeah, if you want to know more about cordovan leather, I'll let you do your own research. The FKM rubber strap, it's got sort of preformed, curved, fitted ends to it. Oh, a bit unsure about that. I'm not sure it suits this style of watch, does it? Like I said at the beginning, I've mentioned a couple of times, I don't think it's a dress watch, so you can sort of get away with wearing this watch on this FKM rubber strap. I love FKM rubber straps, but I'm still not convinced it goes. The one thing I have to point out, though, is the buckles. You get a couple of buckles, obviously, a couple of straps. Look at the finishing on these things. They are 904L steel as well. How nice is that? And the packaging. I haven't seen this packaging from Wise before. It's quite unusual, isn't it? Yeah, when you're paying this sort of money for a watch, you do want the unboxing experience and the packaging to be a little bit more premium than your sort of standard cardboard boxes, and Wise never disappoint when it comes to their packaging. They seem to tailor their packaging to their different styles of watches, which I really, really like. And yeah, there's no denying the overall bundle is impressive. Of course, you're going to pay sort of premium micro brand money for their watches, but you're getting premium watches. You really, really are. I do like their watches. This is another impressive piece by them. It's not going to be for everyone. Dressier watches like this, they don't tend to appeal to that many people, but I suspect, given they've produced this watch in low numbers, this will sell out absolutely 100%. And given the discounts that they're offering, I think it's, yeah, a decent option if you're looking for this sort of watch. Right, guys, as always, thanks for watching.